Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Spider-Man fan, and you will never believe what news I just got. Spider-Man is back in the MCU. Yes, you heard that right, guys. Spider-Man is back in the MCU. I mean, I never thought because I thought we were never gonna see Spider-Man again in the MCU because Sony back then said that the door is closed for now. But today, one of my friends on DeviantArt, I think it was Agent Prime, tagged me in with a comment from his user that said that Spider-Man is back in the MCU, and so he sent me a link to a journal, which I'll leave in the description below, that says that Marvel and Sony confirmed Tom Holland's Spider-Man will return to the MCU. So this means that it's official that Spider-Man is back in the MCU. So things are starting to look good right now. So if you want to read the article for yourselves, I'll leave the link in the description below. But I'm going to read the most important part. So Sony and Marvel announced that Tom Holland's iteration of Spider-Man is back under the Marvel Studios banner, which is great. And also, the two companies also confirmed that the third Spider-Man movie will reach cinemas in July 2021, and it will be part of Marvel Phase 4 of the MCU. So what does this mean, guys? This means that we will get to see a Spider-Man 3 of the Spider-Man Tom Holland series because I never thought I would get to see Spider-Man 3 in the a Spider-Man 3 version of the MCU, an MCU version of Spider-Man 3, because we were so surprised and shocked for of that ending in Spider-Man Far From Home when Mysterio revealed Spider-Man's secret identity to the world. And now we will get to see what happens next on in 2021 in the third Spider-Man movie. Though the name hasn't been confirmed yet, which title is going to be for the third Spider-Man movie. But all that can I say, folks, is that Spider-Man is back in the MCU, and we are going to have Spider-Man 3, which will be released on July 16th of 2021. That's the date of schedule that the movie will be released. July 16th of 2021, we will finally get to see the third film in Spider-Man in the MCU. And my god, I feel so happy about that. Because I totally lost hope that I will never get to see Spider-Man in the MCU. But now that I got this journal, well, news that it's going to be back in the MCU, I'm I'm so happy that I could just talk about this all day, but I don't want to waste any of your time, so sorry. But yeah, Spider Man is going to be back. Well, Spider Man is back in the MCU, and we will get to see Spider Man 3. But also, that's not all, because in this article, they also mentioned that Spider Man will also appear in another Marvel Studios film. So that means that we will not only get to see Spider Man 3 in the MCU, but we will also get to see Spider-Man in another MCU film, like his appearances in the Avengers movie and in Civil War. I'm pretty sure we'll get to see something like that again, but we don't know what the future holds. And you know what? Forget what I said about if Sony releases a Spider-Man movie and I'm not gonna watch it. Well, you guys can forget that because after this good news dropped, I'm gonna see both Spider-Man in the MCU and Spider-Man from Sony because the reason why I was so interested in watching the Into the Spider-Verse and Venom was because Spider-Man was in the MCU. It was all connected. It was all great. But when they announced that Spider-Man was out of the MCU earlier this year, like in August, I guess, I was blown away. Like, hey, what the hell? Why would they do that? But yeah, so and then later Sony would agree a new deal that they would add 30% of Spider-Man and Venom in the MCU. And but later the deal was on hold because Apple would buy Sony, and if Apple would buy Sony, Spider-Man would be back in the MCU. But surprisingly today we got a news that Spider-Man is back in the MCU because the two companies finally agree a deal. And so what does this mean? I mean, I haven't received any articles lately of what if Apple bought Sony or anything, but Yeah, out of nowhere, this good news dropped, and I was quite happy about this. Now, I hope that they don't screw it again because this is Sony's last opportunity. Because if they screw up for a second and third and final time, like they did earlier this year, and with the Amazing Spider-Mans and Spider-Man 3. I'm not sure if we will get to see another Sony Spider-Man movie again, but I hope they keep it like this way. Keeping Spider-Man in the MCU. Because we all love Spider-Man and we all love the MCU movies, especially when the first one or when he first appeared in Civil War and later in Infinity War and later in Homecoming. And I mean, that's the reason why I normally became a Spider-Man fan again. I mean, because of Spider-Man returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was a franchise that I was watching. And the reason why I was watching is because Spider-Man was in it. But, after Spider-Man got kicked out, I was not quite interested. But now that he's back, I'm gonna see the MCU again. But I'm not quite interested in the Phase 4 films because I think I'm gonna wait from here till 2021. I mean, we'll have to wait 2 years in order to see Spider-Man 3, and hopefully, it's gonna be a better Spider-Man 3, and hope we don't get to see another emo Parker dancing scene or a crappy Venom. I'm not sure it's not gonna be that because if you remember in a few months back said that I don't know which guy said, but it said that oh wait, it was the director from the two Spider-Man films of the MCU said that it would be a perfect idea that they would be Craven for the third Spider-Man movie villain. So yeah, I think we will not get to see Venom in the third film like in Spider-Man 3 from the Raimi series, but I think we will get to see the Vulture, Scorpion, and Craven. I mean, if you remember back in Spider-Man Homecoming, the Vulture met Scorpion, and he said that he's got a group of friends who wants to beat him. And
I've got some boys on the outside who would love to meet him.
I think the third movie is going to be about that. Spider-Man fixing his reputation of, being a menace and fighting all of the enemies because now that Mysterio has exposed his secret identity to the whole world, not only his friends and his closest ones to him know he's Spider-Man, but his enemies know that he's Spider-Man. So I'm guessing the third movie will be called. Two first solo films were called Homecoming and Far From Home, and I'm pretty sure the third one will be Reckless Home. I don't know. I'm just coming up with a title, and and I remember now that John Watts said that the perfect villain for Spider-Man 3 would be Kraven the Hunter, and yeah, I totally agree with that. Kraven should be the third villain in Spider-Man 3 because we haven't actually seen a live action version of Kraven before. I mean, not even the Amazing Spider-Man ones or the Sam Raimi ones, but now I think it's the perfect opportunity to add Kraven in the third Spider-Man movie because I can't remember what the article said, but that's all I know. That Kraven should be the third villain in Spider-Man 3. I mean, we got two villains who was the production of Tony Stark, who worked for Tony Stark, and we got the Vulture and Mysterio, Adrian Toomes and Quentin Beck. Those are two Stark-based created villains, but I'm not sure if Craven is also going to be a Stark-based created villain, or I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, this is great news for all of us Spidey fans today because we were all kind of sad and sappy that Spider-Man was no longer going to be in the MCU because of Sony and because of Disney and Marvel, but now we got hope. There's still hope. I mean, we got hope already that we will get to see Spider-Man 3 in the MCU until 2021. But yeah, so we can still enjoy the MCU. So now I just want to say one quick thing. If you guys are interested in watching the brand new MCU movies and the Disney Plus series, like the What If series or the WandaVision series or the Winter Soldier and the Falcon series, I totally respect that because there's continuity between the MCU and this, but I think for me mostly I don't think I'm going to watch any of those movies because I'm only interested in Spider-Man now. Don't call me like, "Oh, you don't want to watch Phase 4 because you're interested in Spider-Man." That's kind of lame. I know because I used to love even more the MCU in Phase 3 because it had my favorite heroes, Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, and Spider-Man, but now that Iron Man's dead and Chris Evans and Thor... Wait, Chris Evans is no longer in the MCU because his contract expired, but Thor is going to get another movie, so maybe I can see the fourth Thor movie, which is Love and Thunder. I think I'm going to see that movie as well, but so yeah, I think I'm the only movie of Phase 4 I'm going to see. I think it's going to be Spider-Man 3 and that movie that Spider-Man is going to appear. I don't know which one is going to be, but I get a feeling it's going to be a Fantastic Four film crossover because Spider-Man was once crossed over with the Fantastic Four and yeah. So I'm guessing it will be kind of like that movie. So yeah, so that's great news. Spider-Man's back in the MCU, and I hope Sony or Disney or Marvel don't do anything stupid to screw it up again, because this time we'll not forgive them. This time if they do that again, but I'm so happy. So yeah, that's all for today, folks. So that's all the news that I got for news for you. So Spider-Man's back in the MCU, so there's no need to worry. So everything is in good hands now. So this is Spider-Man fan, and have a great day.